Hello, you're all very welcome here to our Odlums kitchen. And today we're in a very festive humour. I'm actually going to make profiteroles and a hot chocolate sauce. First of all, over a low heat, we put our 50 grams or 2 ounces of butter or margarine. To that, we're going to add 150 mils, that's a quarter pint of cold water. And what we do is we slowly melt the marg in the water. So that mentioned, I here have weighed out my 2.5 ounces, that's 65 grams of our Odlums strong flour, to which I'm going to add just a good pinch of salt. So now, there we have our mixture. We'll get it up good and hot. And now we're going to see the steam rising. We're going to add in our sieved flour and salt. And we're going to stir it with a wooden spoon. And this is important because if you use a metal spoon, depending on what your saucepan is made of, you will, in fact, discolour the choux pastry. So we'll reduce the temperature now down a bit, mix well, and run your wooden spoon around the inside of the saucepan so that you scoop away all the mixture so that all the ingredients are used in the pastry. That done, now we're going to remove it from the heat and we're going to allow it to cool a bit. I have a marble top here so it's safe enough to put the hot saucepan down on it. We allow it to cool a little bit before we add the eggs, because naturally enough, if we put the eggs in now, the eggs would scramble or par cook and your choux pastry wouldn't be a success. So that done, we're going to just give a last stir here, and now we're going to add the beaten eggs. 2 eggs, lightly beaten, and just to show you what that looks like, completely different to what it was earlier. So now we just scoop the mixture from the spoon, from the spoons I should say, just using this for demonstration purposes. So we just scoop the mixture in. Now just to mention here as well, which is very important around Christmas, if you're serving a lot of people profiteroles, I don't recommend you double the recipe. Do them in 2 separate lots. Now, when you're using an icing bag, leave one side of the bag open, ease your filling down from the other side. So any air, now this doesn't really matter with choux pastry, but if you're decorating your Christmas cake, it's important that you don't get air in the bag. If you do, you're going to get a break in your piping, and there's nothing worse. Now twist the filling from the top of the bag down, do not squeeze in the middle and end up with a lump up here and an empty bag here. Squeeze. What I generally do now is, I generally just take a knife in one hand, pipe the filling out, and cut it if you needs be, but these are doing okay. Now you allow them spread during baking. So we're just going to pipe them out, twist the filling from the top of the bag down, so you'll end up with just an empty bag and about 10 or 12 profiteroles. Now, oven temperature, vitally important. The oven must be at 200 centigrade, 400 Fahrenheit, gas mark 6. Hot air rises, the top part of the oven is always the hottest. Even with a fan oven, choux pastry, in fact all pastry, must be baked in an upper shelf position of a preheated oven. So we're going to put these in now, and they'll take about 25 minutes at that preheated oven to bake. Here we have the profiteroles of the choux pastry, and you just cut them as quickly as possible when they come from the oven to allow the heat to escape, and then onto a wire tray to go cold. We're going to fill them with some cream and then make a chocolate sauce. But first of all, we'll start with the chocolate sauce. And for that, we put a small carton of fresh cream and you heat it. Now don't allow the cream to boil, we just warm it. We're going to start filling the eclairs. And we're going to, sorry, not the eclairs, the profiteroles. Same thing really, the chocolate profiteroles are the eclairs. Now, cream heated, turn off the heat, and into that we're going to put the chocolate. 150 grams of chocolate. Now I'm using the plain chocolate today, but you can use the milk chocolate as well. I just feel the plain chocolate is nice with the, that's the dark chocolate I mean. That's pretty good with the light choux pastry. Now we're going to leave that aside, and we're going to just stir the chocolate. And by the way, to save on the old wash up, use the spatula. It's just been used for cream to fill your profiteroles. There we have our lovely shiny chocolate sauce. So I'm now just going to transfer that to my jug. There we have all the chocolate in. Now what I do is I pour the chocolate sauce over the profiteroles and then I serve the rest then in a jug. So, a dessert over Christmas. Enjoy.